Content. Shilling. What's wrong with Brie Larson now? The fandom is broken once again. These shills, grifters, and nils have ruined everything. Now it falls to me to assemble a crew to fix this broken fandom. Computer, find me a video games expert.
Name Mr. Green Expertise Video Games, codename The Great Daitokuchi.
I need an anime expert.
Name Mr. Blue Expertise Anime and Comic Books, codename Kenshiro.
I need a movies and collectibles expert.
Name Mr. Black Expertise Collectibles and Movies, codename GQ.
So yeah, it's going to be a great episode today. We've got Megatron from RoboSyn, and it's going to be a good unboxing too.
Finally, I need an operator.
Name Mr. Red Expertise Wrestling and Comic Books, codename Simon Says.
The team is complete. Computer, assemble the Culture Junkies live crew.
Yo, what's up, Culture Junkies? Welcome back to Culture Junkies Live. Obviously, I am back with you. Sorry I was missing last week. I had something very important to take care of, but I'm back. But so is Simon Says, who apparently did answer the summons and teleported his ass over here. Good to see you. We're also here with GQ, and we're also here with the great Dadakuji. And a couple of new additions to the table. We got a couple of lovely popcorn buckets from Captain America Brave New World, and also Captain America himself, Sam Wilson. We got Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and we've also got the Infinity Gauntlet Lego style. That Dadakuji literally just finished like minutes ago before we went live.
I mean, a week ago,
I'm just hoping you not get covered by those wings.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. Honestly,
it was a week ago. Well, actually, I did kind of finish it because I missed a couple of pieces last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But no, man, I mean, we got a whole bunch of things to talk about. We'll get into everything, but first and foremost, we would love for you to subscribe to the channel over here on YouTube. We are shooting for 5,000 subscribers. We're a long way away from that goal. So if you wouldn't mind, like and share this stream with everybody, get our subscriber numbers up. We really greatly appreciate it. We are live streaming on YouTube and on Twitch all at the same time. So fellas, you saw Captain America Brave New World. We'll talk about that later. Cobra Kai actually ended this past week, but we'll talk about that later too. I would love to talk about Dragon Ball, because Dragon Ball DAIMA just aired. I think it was episode 12 or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think they only got 2 more weeks left.
Yeah, we only got 2 more weeks, but basically Dragon Ball DAIMA, if you haven't been watching it, the news broke last week that a long treasured fan favorite form was made canon. Now, there's a lot of debate about whether it's actual canon or not canon, but that's neither here nor there. Goku became Super Saiyan 4 again. What do you guys think about, that? Dido, you saw it. So what did you think when you watched it and you saw it happen?
I thought it was actually a very interesting episode. I didn't expect to see that at all. Like, holy crap, like, what are they doing now? And the only thing I could sit there is Toriyama, before his pass, rest in peace. He was like, you know what? You guys did GT without me, and I want to revisit it. I'm going to do it my way, though. And I think he did a better job, in my opinion. Now, I've only watched bits and pieces of GT because, like, they did try to stretch it out when they do things Dragon Ball style, stretch the stuff out.
Dynamic will explode in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
15 episodes later.
Yeah, this is definitely not that at all. Okay. I think the whole series takes place in probably like not even a week or something like that, and it feels like it's really good paced. But seeing Super Saiyan 4, even though he's kid form, and you're probably never going to see Super Saiyan 4 again, even though if you think about it, unfortunately, since Toriyama's dead, I don't know the name of his successor.
Toyotaro.
Anything that happens now, what his successor does can be considered canon, I guess. So he can do whatever, because they brought Broly in. They made him canon, even though he's not the wild and crazy Broly from the movies. They made him canon. They brought in Super Saiyan 4. They made Vegeta Super Saiyan 3. Stuff that fans have been, I guess, wishing and wanting to see for a long time. And I just hope they finish Super. They start doing more, because
exactly.
If you got the manga, you got it out there, just animate it.
Yeah,
they got 2 more arcs to do in Super, which, I mean, honestly, for me, that was my whole problem with Daima, I guess, in general, was because people love Super. I mean, people kind of hated some of the animation issues that the team. No, on TV, the animation quality.
I thought it was fine.
In earlier seasons, when it first came out, the animation was kind of cheap in certain areas. They went back later and fixed it.
Are you talking about that stupid episode with
Super Saiyan 3 fighting beers?
No,
was that Super? Or was that?
That was Super. That was when they were translating the movie episodes to TV. Yeah.
Okay, I get what you're saying about that.
Yeah.
Those were kind of those were shitty. I thought you were talking about like later on with the tournament.
The tournament arc? No. Everybody loved that.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. The whole God, what is it? Battle of the Gods, and then was it
Resurrection F? Yeah, Resurrection F.
Yeah, that was I get what you're saying.
Well, I think the other thing about that though is you're taking something that we've seen in its highest form, and then they're dumbing it down for TV, basically. Because I mean, the movies were fine. The movies actually told those stories exactly what they needed to be told. So putting it into the series and then retelling it again was kind of like,
why?
I already seen this, and I
Right.
get,
And
I
it
get why
out.
they're
It was
doing
it was the
but-
most interesting way to do filler that I've ever seen in
Yeah.
an anime series.
Yeah,
They
just put the
literally,
movie.
Canon
they
filler.
literally took the movie scenes and just wrote some extra shit in it.
Hey,
Yeah.
And
they're
animated it.
probably gonna do it again because, from my recollection, the Gohan story, I forget what they call it, but that movie,
Superhero.
Yeah.
the superhero,
Yeah.
that is in the manga.
Yeah, it
so
And it was stretched out.
Yeah, so they're probably going to do it again
Right.
if they animate the rest of Super. So I mean,
One can argue whether they'll go back to Super after Daima. I
I
don't know
sure
if we'll,
hope so.
I really,
I hope so.
literally hope they do. The moral arc I thought was great, and that
Yeah.
last arc that they had before Superhero I thought was really great too.
Yeah.
Where
With,
they were fighting
Granola.
Granola.
Yeah,
And,
Granola was dope. That was
yeah,
dope.
I thought that was I thought those were really good arcs.
Plus, I mean, doesn't Vegeta get a little bit more shine in the?
He
Oh
does.
yes,
Yeah.
he
Yes.
get
Yes.
Ultra Ego. Ultra
So
Ego.
I
That's
wanna,
so dope.
I want to see that animated. I'm
Mhm.
getting tired of. And again, I understand that Goku is the main character in a lot of ways, but Vegeta for me has always been a better character in the sense that he trains and has to basically earn everything that he gets, and it's like Vegeta's for me is more interesting to follow.
Yes.
It's literally the Rocky and Apollo thing. It's like
Yeah.
Vegeta is very much Rocky of like you got to just do it, and then Apollo is just like he's gifted and he already kind of just has it or whatever. That seems to be kind of how I mean yes, Goku trains obviously,
Right.
Yeah.
but because he's the main character, he gets a lot of stuff handed to him in my estimation. So
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
I agree.
But the argument about whether this Super Saiyan 4 form is canon, I have an interesting take, and I would love for you guys to respond to this. Now,
Sure.
the argument of whether stuff is canon or not canon has been argued ad nauseum.
Mm-hmm.
Most common definitions of canon are if the author was involved, if they wrote it, and it was either in the manga or it was animated, and the author signed off on it, it's considered canon. If it's filler, just that animators make basically to pass the time and fill in the blanks of story, but the animator or the author didn't necessarily want to explore that aspect of the story, then it's considered canon adjacent or non-canon, right?
Okay.
With Dragon Ball, we already know the story about GT. Toriyama wanted to put Dragon Ball on the shelf. He wasn't interested anymore. He was tired. He wanted to create Sandland and do something different. So he did. He said, if you want to do GT, fine, but you're going to do it without me. I'll do character designs, but that's it. The story is yours. You guys do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened. So most people consider GT non-canon because Toriyama had
Nothing.
next
to
to nothing, next to no involvement with it.
Yeah.
Super they consider canon because Toriyama was involved with it. He came back. Daima is in that same boat. However, Daima contradicts Super because a lot of the things that happen in Daima
Hadn't happened yet.
hadn't happened yet in Super, and there was no mention of them going to the demon world or anything like that in Super. And a lot of the stuff that happened, Vegeta turned to Super Saiyan 3, and now with the Super Saiyan 4, a lot of people are like, wait a minute, this gun kind of confuses. So I have a solution. My belief is that official Dragon Ball canon ended with Dragon Ball Z. Everything after that is on its own timeline. Basically branches off in its own thing. Super's in one direction. Super Dragon Ball Heroes, that game thing that they started to do, is another adaptation. The GT is an adaptation, and Daima is an adaptation. They're kind of canon, but they're kind of not. You know what I mean?
You can go in that route, but when somebody says like something that happened in the past wasn't mentioned, it was like, what was their reason to mention any of that stuff? What was the reason to do any of that stuff? If we already been told that, because Goku rarely turns Super Saiyan 3.
Yeah.
And if it's such a energy suck, then Vegeta's probably not going to use it that often.
Right.
So, like, to me, like, I can see what you're saying, but I don't really think that it matters because you'll be like, hey, remember that time while you're fighting Jiro? Remember that time we went to the demon world? Like, like they're not going to reminisce on stuff like that.
Here's one
Granted, it's done in hindsight, of course.
Yeah.
So when you ever do something in hindsight, you can also do stuff better and just cover it up in those tracks. So, like I said, yeah, you can see it that way, or you can just be like, hey, they're not talking about
Interesting side fact as far as like relating to Super, and then Simon says you can say your thing, but interesting side note, King Goma is dressed literally like Jiren and those other dudes.
Yeah,
his outfit is literally the same thing.
Too. Yeah,
literally the same thing. But what were you gonna say, Simon said?
So here's my theory, and it'd be funny if they do it, but I was thinking like, how's like, okay, my thought is like, how are they going to get back to adulthood? My thought is, of course, they'd probably make a wish, but what that possibility that they make a wish, but somehow they like, I don't know how that will happen, but maybe the wish goes wrong and wipes their memory or something like that. That's the only thing I can think of that reason that could like possibly like, oh yeah, the reason why they don't talk about it, they don't remember what happened.
Very seldom do they talk about stuff that happened in the past. Daima, they're talking about Boo because it's like, I got to get rid of this guy because he beat Boo, and Boo was like the most badass thing that ever existed. So that's the whole thing that started it.
Yeah.
But like, you see them talking about people who they fought in the past, but not necessarily like areas or what you call it. Because there's certain enemies that don't get talked about. That rabbit from freaking Dragon Ball don't get talked about that touch people turning into characters. They don't talk about that guy anymore.
Yeah.
They don't talk about Tao Pai Pai. They don't talk. They don't talk about a lot of stuff.
They did talk about Tao Pai Pai.
You did see him as like robotic form or something. But Launch.
She came back.
Disappeared.
Yeah, she came back.
Disappeared.
But
nobody talks about it.
But you remember like the Resurrection F? Frieza did respond that, oh yeah, Goku defeated Boo. Oh shit, he's that strong?
Yeah.
Cause like he said, oh yeah, my dad told me not to fuck with this dude. And then like now he's like, damn, I gotta train. I ain't never had to train.
Right.
Yeah. But I think that in a sense is just more or less catching the audience up to events as well.
Yeah,
that's true.
Exactly.
You got to remember, sometimes they'll do stuff to catch the audience up just for the sake of like, we're not going to do a flashback. We're just going to just mention it in dialogue. If you want to see it, go back and watch it, find it, or, do whatever you got to do. But a lot of times again, we ran into that same problem with Star Wars. When the first time we saw the prequels. Were the Jedi's fighting like this before?
Right.
Well, clearly, because technology's advanced, martial arts training and all that stuff is advanced for actors and stuff like that. So yeah, that's why you're getting all of this stuff. Ray Park didn't exist yet, not to be able to be in the movie, or whatever. So it's like you're always going to have those things that seem like, well, bro, you're telling a story that's before, but you got all this extra stuff. Well, it's because the other movie was already done or the other story was already written. You're never going to, it's never going to be a perfect matchup. Especially if you're doing prequels and stuff.
What do you guys out there in the comments think about Daima? Have you been watching Daima? What do you think of the whole Super Saiyan 4 thing? We would love to hear from you guys out there and kind of highlight your comments to kind of keep this thing going. Interesting enough, another reason for them to go back to Super is one thing I forgot to mention that they haven't given us yet: Black Frieza. They haven't given us Black Frieza yet. That's another reason to go back.
Man went from riches to rags to riches.
Yeah, man.
Literally.
I mean, now they could really put Frieza in that do-rag in the meme, and it actually would make sense. It actually would make sense.
Yeah.
No, man.
Hold your fire. This man is not black.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That to me is still one of the
That was
funniest,
funny.
most unironic dubs ever. I'm just like, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
y'all didn't just
Think
say
of
that
that,
out loud
think
before
about
you
that.
recorded
Right.
it. Y'all
Yeah.
just like, okay.
This
Didn't
man
even
is
think
not
about
black. Yes, I thought that was great. No, 1,000%. I thought that was great. All right. Well, obviously you guys can put your comments in the chat, and we'll visit it later if we have a little bit more time. Something Preem brought up that he would love for us to touch on is, have you guys been paying attention to the castings of this live action Masters of the Universe movie?
Outside of Idris Elba and who was it that was Tila? I forget her name.
That is my boo that played Veronica in Riverdale, Camila Mendes.
Okay.
Yeah,
The other one that I saw was Marina Baccarin as Sorceress.
Are they still doing Jared Leto as Skeletor?
Jared Leto as Skeletor, yes, is still is 100%.
Interesting.
Yes.
What's up, Preem, for
Speak of the devil, and he
say his name and
So
he'll appear.
Exactly.
Speak of the devil, and he appears. There you go.
39 months. It does. Yeah, he's right. It's definitely looking like a stacked cast. It sounds like they're doing the exact reverse of, at least if this is true from the plot, it sounds like they're doing the reverse of the original movie, where he goes to Earth first and then goes back to Eternia.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't have minded them just being on Eternia the entire movie.
Exactly.
Two.
Again, we'll have to see what they do.
Right.
But I think we're past that, in my opinion. We're past that needing to tie things to Earth. We can easily just, it's like, bro, a lot of people we all grew up with He-Man. modern day audiences can handle stories. I mean, look at Transformers 1. Now, granted, it didn't do great box office wise. That might have just been fatigue because of the Bay movies or whatever. But that took place completely on Cybertron. No humans, no nothing.
And it was great.
And it was it was absolutely great. So He-Man, you don't need any relation to Earth. It's like, bro, they're humanoid characters.
Yeah.
So
What's the
let's just go.
The only tie to Earth should be
his
Queen
mom.
Marlena.
Yeah,
that's
his mom.
it.
His mom.
That
That's about
literally should be it.
I 100% agree with you guys. And most of these executives, for whatever strange reason, know that there's a lot of normies who watch movies who just can't wrap their brain around. We've already talked about why science fiction that's original just doesn't do well unless it's already an established franchise.
Right.
Anything else just seems like just right over people's heads because I don't get it. Or something
like
of the sort.
Valerian 1000, that Valerian movie.
Yeah, I tell you, I
that
like
movie was
Valerian.
great. That movie was
I
great.
thought it was really
it's
good
like,
movie.
But like you said, it's like people. It's just like you
Goes
know,
right over their head. So I think that has something to do with it. Where it was like they got to have some kind of recollection of something in order to get it. Like why are they fighting? Why is he so strong? Why did he change from like this little dinky dude to this big beefy guy? I don't get it.
You know what I would do to answer that? I would literally make the opening sequence the exact thing from the cartoon.
Yeah.
It literally be like, look, if y'all don't understand it here, y'all just too damn dumb for the movie. What's up to Other Steve for 45 months in a row? Appreciate you, man, for the subscription.
Appreciate you very much. All right, so I'm gonna read off the cast.
Okay.
We got the aforementioned Marina Baccarin as the sorceress. Nicholas Galatzine, I think you say, is Prince Adam. He-Man. Allison Brie as Evil Lynn.
Okay.
that was one I was like, I couldn't get her name.
Yeah, James Purefoy as King Randor. James Purefoy, who is known from I'm trying to think of and he was in Rome, the TV series.
Okay.
Altered Carbon, and Fisherman's Friend. Charlotte Riley as Queen Marlena.
Okay.
Damn, she looks kind of young to be Queen. Idris Elba as Man at Arms.
Yep,
that's cool.
Yeah. Now the guy with the most terrible master's name of all, Johannes Hacker Johansson as Fisto.
Yeah.
He's got the most unfortunate name. I swear to God.
I mean, for them to bring Fisto in though, because you got to remember he was just somebody that was just his action figure was always kind of like weird. Cheesy.
But they gave him.
What was that other dude? His opposite. They had an Asian guy who was like because the toy.
Fisto was Asian.
No, what was his opposite? Because there was another one that was it was a good guy and there was a bad guy.
No, Fisto was he was the beard guy.
Yeah, with the red mustache or whatever.
That was a big fist, metal fist.
Yeah, and the other one had the chopping motion. One had the fisting motion, but they were like the same toy that had this spring in their arm.
Gotcha.
Because it was like opposite, but I can't remember what the heck his name was.
Now, if y'all remember the 2002 animated series of He-Man, they actually made it to where Fisto and Man at Arms were related.
Okay. So they got, as we said, Jared Leto as Skeletor, Camila Mendez as Tila, Half-Lord Julius Jornsson, a.k.a. The Mountain, as Goatman.
Why did they just name him Beastman? Beastman.
I don't. That would have been too easy. That would have been too easy.
Here's the one though. I like Jared Leto. He better not try to go method for Skeletor. Dude, do a really good Skeletor. Just do that because his Joker. I still don't like his Joker. I don't care what nobody says.
No, his Joker was fucking
his Joker
stupid,
was so annoying.
That's
to
funny.
me.
Prim got a quote out of context. Dido quotes. So one character was fisting and the other one was scissoring.
No, I don't think it was scissoring.
That's funny. No, that's funny though. That's funny.
Jitsu, his name was.
Yeah, Jitsu. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely Asian influence.
Who's playing Triclops?
Also known as Chopper.
So I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that. So Sam C. Wilson as Trapjaw, Sashir Zamata, who was in Masters of Agatha all along. She is playing a character named Susie.
Probably a human.
Yeah, probably a human.
Dog, man.
Kojo Ada as Triclops.
Okay. That's
interesting.
John Xu Zhang as Ram Man. So they make the Asian guy Ram Man.
I always hated Ram Man. I'm just gonna be straight up.
I understand.
I
I get it.
Ram Man.
I get it. I mean, hey, he was a walking CTE guy. Literally, his whole thing was running and banging his head and stuff.
Pretty much.
I remember having this toy though. He was like, because he couldn't move.
His legs were just molded together.
Yeah, man, it was weird.
Again, I liked how they portrayed him in the 2002 version. He was just a straight up dude. He didn't have no legs.
Spring legs and all the crazy.
No, he didn't have that shit. He was just like literally like use his head. Like he was walking CTE, but
walking CTE. And Christian Funipola as Hussein, another human character.
Hussein. Yeah, I kind of look again. I agree with all you guys. Yeah. I kind of wish they would just leave that part out because it's not necessary. It doesn't need it. Sometimes it just makes it feel like it's forced in there, and just give us a He-Man movie without any of that stuff.
Yeah, totally isekaiing this Masters of the Universe, and
reverse
that
isekai.
part of it. Yeah, well. Actually, no, it's a regular isekai because the reverse would be they're coming from Eternia to Earth like they did in the original.
Right.
This is an actual isekai where Adam is going to Eternia and becoming He-Man. So for me, and I'm sure those other two people that I mentioned, the two humans, will be going with him
probably
to Eternia.
Here's the issue though. If you look at that, if you break it down to a simplest form, they're just doing the first Thor movie. That literally is the first Thor movie. He gets banished to Earth. Now, granted, I don't know if he's banished or not. He ends up on Earth somehow. Forgets who he is. Thor didn't forget who he is. He knew who he was, but he lost all of his power. Eventually, Odin, he's worthy again. Boom, let's go back to Asgard or whatever. So it's the same.
It's funny though. It's like
basic story.
You know what's funny though? When you say that, and then how I looked at it. Motherfucker grabbed the hammer, and I literally just said, "By the power of grace." So when he I was dying. I was like, "Dude."
So it makes me wonder if the Sword of Power is somehow going to end up being on Earth.
It's a possibility.
Oh no, I think one of the pictures of the cops had him, and then the lady cop was holding the sword.
The sword?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
It literally, that's why he was getting arrested.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It literally is the first. I thought that was
like AI or something.
As far as I know, that's what's going down.
Oh my god!
Again, it could be a fake leak. It could be any number of things. But if that's the basic premise they're going with, it's the first Thor movie.
Yeah, yeah. That part kind of worries me.
So we'll see.
But again, we're not judging. We will definitely see it. I'm just
hold on. Is Tila mixed?
She's going to be.
Okay, I was about to say. I mean, we all know it's Man-at-Arms' daughter, so.
Right?
Yeah,
so,
and the Sorceress' daughter.
So so I mean, Idris Elba with Morena Baccarin. So
yeah,
it is fine. So all right, let's get to Captain America: Brave New World. So the movie got mixed reviews.
Yep.
We all saw it on Saturday as a group. Even before we went to saw it, I felt like the fan reaction to the movie was much more positive than the critics' reaction. It has a 80% fan approval rating versus a 43%, I think, critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which is third worst MCU movie of all time, I think.
Yeah, it's a B-.
Yeah, and it got a B- sentiment score. But when we saw it, we didn't necessarily get that same feeling. So what did you guys think of the movie? Simon says, "What you go first? What was your thoughts of?"
He hated it. He's like a freaking.
He's not Dave. He's not Dave. He's not the curmudgeon. So I don't think he hated. But what'd you think, man?
It was a movie, man.
It was a movie.
It just didn't. I don't know, man. I think I had maybe I had way too. I don't know if I would say expectations because. I'm going back to Winter Soldier. I don't know why I was. I don't know why
every movie doesn't have to be Winter Soldier. Every movie doesn't have to be Endgame. Every movie doesn't have to be all that stuff.
But
it can be on their own.
Let him finish.
But here's the thing: it was going to the I don't want to say political aspect, but it was like basically sort of like how they were portraying like, okay, we want. Control adamantium, we want to like maintain it and all that shit. I was like, but then you about to start a war. It was literally like dude, they're kind of like almost not say almost the same, but like the end part of Winter Soldier where it's like they're about to rain down the fire on all. But no, it's like, and then okay, they stopped that part. I'm not gonna spoil any more stuff. If y'all haven't seen it, then too bad. But. I mean, y'all probably already seen the Red Hulk, and that part, that I don't know if that really needed to be in the movie, but you really think about it, bro. why are you taking pills from a dude that you literally in prison for what 7-10 years?
16.
16 years.
It showed the desperation.
Yeah, I think his reasoning, without spoiling it, most anybody would take that deal.
Yeah, they
like would. You know, it's like, okay, if
but why would you like just like make sure or check the damn pills?
Who else is gonna be able to? Because again, you're not on good terms with Wakanda. Wakanda probably could have healed him.
Yeah,
realistically.
Easily.
But Ross is so isolationist and all that other sort of thing, and so against so many different things.
Negroes anyway.
Probably not. But it's like, you know, his like I said, anybody put in that position is like, hey, take this, you'll be all right. Probably will take that deal 9 times out of 10. I'm just going to say that without trying to give away too much. I enjoyed the film on the sense that it's moving the story forward. A lot of people were saying MCU's gotten stagnant and this and that. But you got this whole thing from Eternals and okay, cool. We addressed
Eternals was a setback.
Where's the leader been? We addressed that. There's a whole bunch of things where this movie moves it forward a little bit. Now it's not huge leaps and bounds because again, you're introducing. Yeah, it didn't need to be, but you're also catching people up that may not have watched some of the Disney Plus stuff. We got a new Captain America. We got a new Falcon. You know, so it's like I like the story they told because it was very self-contained to this particular film. Now, granted, its branches and its roots stretch back real far, all the way back to Phase 1 for some stuff.
Yeah,
but it's very cool that the story that they told. For me, it was very just easily laid out. Now, some people was, it's too confusing. It's a lot of stuff going on.
It wasn't confusing. It was, to me, it was like, I don't know what it was, but it was just like, I wanted more from the Hulk, the Red Hulk.
Understood, but you got to remember from the CG side of things, that's expensive.
That's one thing that's expensive, but it's just because I don't know what was reshot. One of the things, and I'm going to talk, I like the movie. I'm not going to talk about what I liked about the movie because almost all the points that you put is what I liked about the movie. But I'm going to talk about what the critics didn't like about the movie. One of the things it was people complaining about is because it's a sequel to The Incredible Hulk, not necessarily a sequel to any Captain America movie. They said it was like a sequel, and they just threw Captain America in there. They said that too many reshoots, and you can kind of tell when things were reshot, they didn't fit well. Like Giancarlo Esposito's character was kind of like just a throwaway character, like he was there and he was just like, why you get this big name in there? The way I look at it is they got a big name in there to set something up for the future because they didn't kill him off. You know he's going to probably come back and do something else. Kind of same thing with Zemo because they brought him back and they used him in a way that I thought worked real well. So, and speaking on the Red Hawk thing, it's kind of like they said, as a sequel to Captain America, to Incredible Hulk, like, how is like they were complaining, of course, how is he fighting the Hulk? And I was like, well, because he got vibranium wings in the helmet, so that helped him out. But it to me, to be the worst of the best of the worst, I guess, I don't know. It just seems kind of odd how low it is. You get a B-, which is still relatively good, but like they compared it to Thor Dark World, and Thor Dark World got a B+. And I was like, no, Thor Dark World was to me a way worse movie and didn't really move any pegs. This one you started characters because other people's theories that the leader is going to, because we saw the ending, if you guys didn't see the ending credits, that's going to have a lot to do with him and his quantum mind. So they introduced stuff that's I think going to push the story forward, but a lot of people also complaining because it's not Endgame. Or it's not Winter Soldier. And I was just like, not every movie has to be that. It just has to be a competent movie that's fun and entertaining. And like, again, the Eternals, because we're going to talk about the Eternals because it had a lot to do with that, wrapping stuff up. A lot of people didn't like the Eternals because it had just too much stuff and they didn't know. Like it should have been
anything.
Yeah, it should have been a series, and each episode should have been about each different Eternal.
It's like they try to like, I agree with you on that. They just try to like throw each internal, not really like, going through their history or not.
Not focusing on just one of them.
It was a lot of information to dump into it because that movie was long. Eternals was not a short movie by any stretch, but it was still a lot of information to try to throw into a movie with all new characters.
Exactly.
Everybody was new. Like none of those characters were
Everybody.
carried. You had a couple of callbacks and mentions to characters that we know of, but every single person on that screen was somebody you had not seen before. So it's like that's a huge info dump. And to Dido's point, that would have been Disney Plus didn't exist yet, I don't think, or it was in the makings. That would have been the better thing to, like you said, to dump on Disney Plus as a stretched out series.
And no, having fine ass Salma Hayek name drop Thanos. You know, even in the trailer, is not enough. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, that was true.
That's not enough.
Freaking Star Fox, man. I was like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Yeah, I wonder where that's gonna go now.
Probably nowhere. We'll never see. But anyway, get to your point about how the critics kind of received this movie. It's regarding it as a sequel to the Incredible Hulk Super Nerd Plus. Is in the comments says, I read a comment that said that they're tired of Marvel introducing new characters. It's too many, which they got to get over that. I mean, whoever said that, I mean, that just don't make no sense to me. But
that does not.
Going back to what I was saying about how the critics received this movie being a sequel to previous Captain Americas. Well, it's a new Captain America. He has to have his own setup. Yep. It can't be married to what came before, right? Yeah. So he has to have his own story to set himself up. Now, Anthony Mackie, I thought, did a fantastic job owning the mantle of Captain America. Where he was doing stuff, and you're gonna have those people that are saying that, well, and I saw this on social media, and I'm not surprised that I read it, but I'm not surprised that I read it, but I'm still disappointed that I did. You had some black people saying that he was almost cooning for the government and saying that, oh well, he was too much of a get along. He wasn't acting too much like a a real black man to step up and be, he went along too much with the government and all this other kind of stuff. And I was just like,
dude, he's a soldier.
That's weird as hell of a stance to take. Number one. Number two, Sam wouldn't be like that. Nothing in the MCU that we've seen from Sam has ever said he'd be the anti-establishment, revolutionary black Captain America. They're almost acting like he needs to be like Luke Cage. He's not Luke Cage. Yeah. He's not Luke Cage.
For first and foremost, dude is a soldier. He's literally a soldier. Why would you?
He has fought, bled, and died. And sacrificed for this country.
Yeah. And he
worked at the VA. Good point, Pri. Yeah. He worked at the VA. Like, come on.
I mean, his whole thing is empathy because he's sitting down trying to make sure that these people who are in war are able to get back to their life, come home, and deal with the trauma that they have gone through. What you call it? That's what he did.
That's what he did for Isaiah.
He did it for all of them. So, people just not understanding that character. Just because you got melanin, you always got to be,
even to that same point, as far him getting along or whatever, it's like he only accepted Ross's invitation if Isaiah was able to go along and honor his contribution to the whole super soldier thing and all that other sort of thing. And people have to understand that there's different hills that you die on. And not every single hill is worth dying on.
100%.
So as a character, basically him being Captain America, there is a certain level of responsibility to, it's like, hey, President invited you to the White House. You're probably going to go. Even if Steve got invited to the White House, guess what? He probably was going to go. His situation might have been, okay, if Bucky can't come, then I won't go. Very similar to the Isaiah thing. So it's like people got to understand they can't have it both ways because they're like, oh, leave real world politics out of it and leave this, and then all of a sudden you're trying to bring all this other stuff into it. It's like, which way is it going to be? They're telling a story that's moving forward a particular arc and narrative and thing that's building up to something else. Because again, we all know we're moving towards Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars and all that other sort of thing. This is another chapter out of that book. And this is just moving forward. I enjoyed this chapter of the story. I thought it was fun. I don't have a huge comic book knowledge of the leader, but it's like, bro, they set that seed all the way back in 2008.
Yeah, exactly.
And they finally picked up that thread.
Yeah, right. And they finally picked up on that thread. Right. So it being a quote unquote unofficial sequel to Hulk 2, Hulk, fine, I don't care. Whatever.
I mean, technically, they kind of did the same. I'm gonna say technically, but they did bring back Emil Blonsky and the She-Hulk. So that they turned on that thread too with the Abomination.
Well, he was in Shang-Chi too.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi. Yeah.
So, and Super Nerd said, some TikToker said that Sam didn't get a full story arc, like they wanted to know more about him. I guess people forgot about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is another highlight point of where maybe the TV show experiment failed a little bit, in that they stuck these shows behind that Disney Plus paywall. Not everybody paid for it. Not everybody saw it. And because now you get to these movies and they're bringing up things that happen in those shows, now people are like, wait a minute, how did he become Captain America? Like, when did that whole thing happen?
As soon as he hand him that freaking shield.
Where did this Falcon kid come from?
Yeah.
Like, we don't know who he is and all this other kind of stuff.
Oh, they're going to hate watching the freaking Thunderbolts then.
So, to me, I feel like it would have been smarter for them to, yes, have it on Disney Plus for those people that are early adopters and really wanted to see it. But then, much like they did with Ms. Marvel, put it on ABC. Put it on ABC,
so
in the summer, like in the summertime. When you need some, no, they did it for Ms. Marvel. They didn't do it for anything else.
They only did it for Ms.
Marvel.
Marvel.
They only did it for Ms. Marvel.
I think Ms. Marvel, because of Ms. Marvel in itself, works as something that you can just give to the general audience that can just kind of just watch and enjoy. Falcon and Winter Soldier, that one's a little bit tougher, only in the sense, for the general audience, only in the sense that the themes are about understanding the other side, understanding the other people. Most people can't do that, man. They just can't. It's unfortunate, but they just can't, because people love to harp on him saying you can't keep calling them terrorists. You got to do better. Everybody loves to bring that up, but it's like, okay, listen to the actual what he's saying, though. Pay attention to the gist of his message there. It's these people disappeared and they came back and their home was gone. Yeah, you're going to go to some extremes like, bro, why you in my house? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because for you, it was split second. But it's been 5 years. So, of course, you're going to, be a little bit out of sorts or whatever. And some people will go to extreme measures to fight for what's basically theirs. So, it's nobody wants to do that, though. It's like that takes, for, I guess, too much thought or whatever. Now, what's up? Oh, God. Wolverine Solid X checking in. How you been, man? He's saying the fanboys overreacting, as always, when it's a black lead. There's definitely a lot of that.
Yep.
You cannot. Just people love to sugarcoat it. They love to try to mask it. We know full well why a lot of people do not want Anthony Mackie playing as Captain America.
Yeah, we know that.
Regardless of the fact that it happened in the comics and all that other sort of stuff, it happened. Also, shout out to Anthony Mackie for executive producing the movie.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't know that.
Get that bag.
Exactly. You got that Disney money,
right? I mean, it's like he had a catchphrase of his own as an actor. Cut the check. I guess they were talking about that when he was doing Winter Soldier. Anytime a scene was finished, but it's like, hey, get your bag for real if you're the executive producer on this film. Because, like I said, I enjoyed the film for all of the reshoots. Because again, every movie has reshoots. I don't all of them do. So let's just be real about that. But yes, the one scene at the very end, well, not the very, very end, but the last, you could tell that was done on the volume. Just him standing outside, that one looked a little rough. Whatever, it is what it is. I like the little detail of them acknowledging that Red Hulk is heat versus the straight rage, because like the little cherry blossoms were like burning up on him until he started to calm down and he was able to catch one. Yeah, I thought that was a cool little detail that, again, they didn't bring it up. They didn't try to force feed it to you. It's like, if you noticed, you noticed. So I thought that was actually pretty well done.
So from as a totality, this movie, in my opinion, was it phenomenal? No, that's okay though, right? It was good enough. Is it better than most MCU fare? Okay, I think a lot of people get it twisted with the MCU. They expect, because when they watched Infinity War, because when they watched Endgame, and the level of euphoria, the excitement, the thrills that they had watching those movies, they expect every MCU movie to meet that threshold. If it doesn't, then it's a failure.
And they forgot one thing.
Right.
Build up.
Build up is one thing, but they also need to understand that your average MCU movie is just okay. It's not phenomenal. In fact, most of the MCU movies, with the exception of like some extremely standout films, were just okay. They weren't exceptional movies, right? Let's think about it. Iron Man 3, that wasn't very good. Iron Man 2 wasn't very good.
I like 3 more
Let's
than
see.
2.
Right. I like 3 more than 2. Some people will argue that Spider-Man Far From Home was really not that good of a movie, right? Some people will say Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was not very good, right? Obviously, Thor. We know Thor: The Dark World was trash.
Yeah.
Some people will say, Thor Ragnarok was fantastic,
But hated
Love and Thunder, right?
Yeah.
This being the fourth Captain America movie, it's similar on par to me as the first Avenger, the first Captain America movie.
Yeah.
It's
Pretty much.
that movie wasn't spectacular. It was a real well put together movie, but it was just okay.
The thing,
Right?
the thing about Thor: The Dark World, for example, and Thor: The Dark World for me redeemed itself because of the events that took place in Infinity War and also Endgame, because it's one of those things. Sometimes it's like if you have a book that you like and you read it, sometimes you go back and you revisit that book and you read it again and you pick up on stuff that you didn't notice before because now you've lived more life, you've maybe experienced other things. For me, Thor: The Dark World has a lot of that in it. Because, for example, the trauma that he goes through in that film, mainly because he loses his mother to what's his Malekith.
Malekith, yeah.
So like that starts a snowball effect for Thor. If you look at Thor's arc throughout all of the MCU, because
He's lost the most,
it
yes.
started there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then for what all he knew, he lost Loki at the end of that movie. So then it moves forward. You get to Infinity War. Heimdall gets killed. And then Ragnarok first. His dad dies. Then you get to Infinity War. Heimdall gets killed right in front of him. He can't do nothing about it. Loki officially gets killed right in front of him. Can't do nothing about it. So it's like, and then by the end of Infinity War, he's the reason half the world, half the universe gets snapped away. So it's like if you pull all of that back, Thor: The Dark World is where all of that started. And then you see his back and forth with Rocket in Infinity War. You really realize how much he's gone through of like, bro, he lost everybody. Then at the end of the movie, he the snap happens basically because he didn't go for the head. And it's like, he's Fat Thor for a damn good reason.
Yes.
And it's like, so that's why I don't like when people harp on very individual things, because it's like, bro, you're looking at this Captain America movie. Just on the surface, all the stuff it's opening up. Adamantium. Hello.
Yeah.
Come
Wolverine.
on. We know what that means.
I wonder
So
how
it's
that's
like,
Yeah.
just
Silver
sit-
Samurai. No.
That too, especially with Japan being involved, right?
Right.
Yes.
So it's like chill on it for a minute. It just came out last week, a couple of days ago, really. Who knows what this is going to tie into? It's opening the door for a bunch of possibilities. It doesn't need to be a masterpiece. Like Dido said, not everything is Endgame, not everything is Winter Soldier, Infinity War. Those are huge successes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like, you can't, that's literally like saying, okay, you trying out for football, we expect you to be just as good as the captain of the team.
Sam Wilson's going to come
They
out with
want you to be
adamantium
as
wings
good
now.
as Tom Brady.
Right.
I can see that actually.
What?
His next wings are going
Yeah,
to be
adamantium. Yep.
Yeah, I could actually see that.
They might. I mean, it's-
no, I can see that.
Well, hold on. That would actually not work for him. Adamantium's not flexible.
Oh, it's too heavy. Yeah, it's too heavy.
Well, yeah,
It's
it's not
it's not flexible.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So that to me is going to be interesting because there's all, bro. There's implications of what's Wakanda going to be like, you know, in the sense because obviously vibranium is very usable and very but it's like adamantium is just stronger.
Yeah.
So it's like there's so many different ways they can go with this now. So it's like.
Well, here's the thing. We'll see Bullseye with the adamantium spine. How about that?
Yeah,
Maybe.
we'll see.
I think a lot of this stuff's not going to happen until Doomsday or something.
Yeah, until the
Like
world
after
gets
that.
when the world gets reset, I think a lot of things are going to be already established by the time we come back. Anyway, let's wrap up this one because we still got to talk about Cobra Kai.
Yep.
Final ratings that you guys will give out of let's do out of 10.
I
Simon
can't do
says.
out of 10.
I'm going to 6.
6. Okay.
Oh, for Winter Soldier?
No.
Not Winter Soldier. You know what I meant.
Brave New World.
You know what I meant.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier. You know.
What'd you
No, I think it was about a 7.36789.
So 7.5.
Yeah, something like that.
I'll give it about an 8, honestly, because again, I look at it as it's a very important puzzle piece sitting in the middle of the puzzle, and it's just like this is about to branch off to a whole bunch of different possibilities. I'm tired of judging these movies individually as their own thing because they fit into a huge tapestry. So it's like, bro, the movie was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to all the stuff it's going to basically birth, so to speak.
I also would give it a 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was an enjoyable movie. Not a great movie. I really enjoyed a lot of the action scenes. Like, dude, the shit Sam was doing with the shield. What he did with Red Wing?
Mm-hmm.
Man,
He was doing some
yes.
fucking awesome
Some
stuff.
really good stuff that I thought Giancarlo was standing as Sidewinder was fantastic as well. Can't wait for him to pop back up because just the way he said when he said about said to Sam at the end, he was like, "Win."
When I
Win.
get out, I get out.
Yeah.
When I get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To hand over Megan's point, they did use adamantium in the story, just not as a
It was just a MacGuffin.
Yeah, it was a MacGuffin.
Yeah,
it was literally a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
So
It was a MacGuffin. So.
that's something that it's like you introduce it, all the fans know what it is. We'll find out what they're gonna do with it down the line.
All right. So last thing we kind of wanted to talk about real brief is Cobra Kai finally ended. Season 6, Part 3 came out this past week.
Mm-hmm.
We watched all of the episodes. It was a very short amount, really, to get through. I think it was like 5 or 6 episodes, really, to get through.
They didn't really need much.
What'd you guys think of the last part? How they wrapped everything up?
I loved it.
Let's start with that first.
I loved it.
You loved it?
Loved it.
You loved
great
everything about
redemption. Dude, that whole entire series was great. It was better than anybody expected to be. It was better than it should have been. I heard people calling it corny, and sometimes it does feel like the Power Rangers are up there fighting.
Yeah.
But that's okay because, like, it's just, for me, when you're telling a story, when you're seeing progression and character development, specifically in Johnny Lawrence, because he was just somebody who felt like he was just thrown away, not just by just society, how he was treated by a sensei, just everything. He just didn't go the way that he wanted it to. And because he, still had, I guess you want to call it, grit inside of him to help somebody become better than what they could have been without him. And also vice versa. It was like not just him making and helping, this young man, grow, Miguel.
Yeah.
Also had him growing
Oh,
as
yeah.
a person and becoming, and like I thought the callbacks were great. I thought everything that they did, I enjoyed the show. I think it was fun. Some of the stuff was just like, heart wrenching in my honest opinion. Just like seeing, revelations to certain characters. I thought it was a great show. Loved it, 100%. If I could buy it all on Blu-ray, DVD, blah blah blah, I would, just to keep that physical in my collection.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. The main thing I loved about the series, like you said, very much Johnny's redemption story and progression, shows that as a character, he is way more well-rounded than Daniel
Yes.
has ever been. Now, granted,
Yes.
Daniel's more successful than he's ever been, but as far as being able to literally go from one point to another and you literally see that full progression and the character actual growth, Johnny is a way better character than Daniel LaRusso has ever been. One that really surprised me and actually got me to, like you said, tear up a little bit was Kreese. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that because, again, way back at Comic-Con, we met him. Great actor, always, a cool dude, plays that bully role extremely well. But looking at his character development and his growth, because you're expecting him to be that snake again, like he always has been. In this one, it wasn't even there. It was like he literally finally understood how destructive his style of teaching and being was. Because when he rolled up on Tori, I was like, bro, she's been through some stuff, bro. You need to just leave her alone. And it was literally not even trying to be conniving and convince. It was like
He was heartfelt.
it was like, this is your decision. I'll respect that decision and I'll back off. I just wanted to, apologize for. I was like, what?
I didn't expect that.
And then when he rolled up on Johnny, it was like,
Yo,
whoa,
that was one of the best moments of the series.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the best moments of the
Right.
series.
So
Like,
it was-
not even just in the parking lot. I'm talking about even in the hallway.
Oh, yeah, the hallway.
That was,
The hallway.
that was fantastic.
because Johnny was actually open to hearing what he had to say.
Yeah.
Finally.
And it was like, bro, that was really well written, period. Because it's like everybody in some form or fashion, whether it be to a parent, a sibling, an uncle, or whatever, can relate to that, having that animosity or anger towards somebody. And you just hold on to it, and it could really be destructive. But for the way Kreese understood his part in it, he admitted his part in it. Most people never ever do that.
Well,
and seeing that, it was like, whoa.
And right. And they never do that, but they also, the adults never accept their responsibility,
Yeah,
especially with the child, right?
He accepted his responsibility and was able to look back at what he was doing because he got somebody killed, and it was literally his fault. Because not only did he start, he was flaming the fire of that guy's personality. It was like it's okay for him to be like that because that's how it's taught, and he the guy died because of him, and he was like, you know what? I don't think I've been doing this right.
Yeah,
you know.
And I love how he got the realization by watching his actual master do what he was doing. Because I was like, bro, I'm like, that guy is a caricature and a half. Because it's like you going a little too hard just out of like this somebody wronged your style. It's like, bro, nah, bro, you a murderer, man.
Yeah.
What you trying to do?
Yeah,
Like, you need to go.
Now, Simon says, I understand that you have. How much have you watched any of Cobra Kai?
To be honest, I've watched the first 2 episodes, and then I just like wasn't for me.
What was it about it that you didn't like?
It was well. Here's what I didn't like was how, I mean, Johnny was down on his luck, but the thing that pissed me off was like how Daniel was like, oh yeah, I'm like this successful dude and all that shit, and then like you said, he like takes everything out of proportion. He's like jumps the gun.
He's a hothead. That's who he is.
He was a hothead. He was a hothead from the beginning.
You weren't like this when you were a kid.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was, bro.
The whole reason why Karate Kid, if you go back and watch it, and it was something that was brought to my attention before Cobra Kai even came out.
I remember
and it
that.
actually kind of started because of How I Met Your Mother, because I remember watching that, and I didn't think about it at the time, but somebody brought it up in another video I was watching, because William Zabka was in there playing himself, and what's his name? I can't remember his name.
Ted, the guy that was playing Ted?
Doogie Howser.
Oh, no.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris' character is basically saying that you were the good guy of the movie, and Daniel was the antagonist. And if you go back and look at it,
because he was messing with his girl.
He started a lot of that stuff,
everything.
and mainly because he was a highhead, and he was probably afraid because he was out of. But it was literally like. You threw sand on him first, you poured the water on him. You did a lot of stuff in that cut scene where like you dumped the food on my man. It was just like
it broke down everything.
Yeah.
In that one scene in Cobra Kai, because it was like if you totally revisit it, like you said, he was getting involved in Johnny and Ali's talk. Yeah. He had no business getting in the middle of that. He could have literally just been off to the side and let them. He was trying to be Mr. Chivalry guy, and be like, hey, man, she doesn't want you to be bothering her. Like, dude, just shut the fuck up and get out the way. He was the one that poured the water on Johnny at the dance, and basically made Johnny chase him.
There's a lot to it, but the other thing is about Daniel's hothead and jumping to conclusions. When Johnny kissed Ali at the dance and kind of forced himself on her, Danny only saw the kiss and got pissed at her. He didn't understand that she she punched him like right after because she didn't want that. And even what's her name's friend had to explain that to him. So Daniel has always been somebody that blows stuff out of proportions because he does not. Again, he doesn't think that way. Now. I will give you this. The series does have a lot of people learn a lesson and then they go right back and forget that lesson in about 5 minutes. It happens a lot. But that's standard TV trope stuff. But the series itself is, like Dido said, way better than it has any business being. When you watch the whole thing and see
I absolutely agree with that.
Some of the guest stars and people that came back throughout the lore and stuff. It was a great series.
It was a great series. However, my feeling on season 6 as a whole, especially the last part, outside of a few of those things that we had talked about, it felt really rushed, right? It felt like they just hurriedly tried to wrap up a lot of plot threads outside of the really important principal characters, right?
Weren't they wrapping it up for the movie?
You look at it that way. I look at it. They shot all that stuff, and they only broke it up because they're trying to have some kind of not anticipation to get people to come back to watch it because all that stuff was done. They could have in November dropped the whole thing because it was all done.
No, I agree.
So it wouldn't have felt rushed if it was all right there.
But I guess kind of what I mean by that.
Because I watched it. See, the thing is, you watched it in November. And then the second part, whatever, when that came out, and I waited all up until a week before they dropped. So to me, it didn't feel rushed because I watched all of it like in that span.
So for me, but for me, the way I look at it is I feel like Cobra Kai, as good as it was, and when the kids, started to expand and they started to add more and more kids, right? It started to dilute the quality of the show because they had to give so much important. They had to basically flesh out this one kid here, and I feel like the one that paid the most price is Kenny. I feel like Kenny as a character got underused.
I think puberty messed Kenny up.
Well, yeah. That
actor
too.
went from like
man, and his voice deepened like crazy.
Right. Like Kenny turned into an adult or during
like
the break.
Real fast.
So
100%.
Because his one of his main, again, spoilers, but if you know, you know, one of his main antagonists is Daniel's son.
Yeah.
So it's like Daniel's son looked about the same. Kenny looked like he grew like into Kenny about 20 now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
My other thing is that I thought that when I was watching it, that last one, I was like, I thought this was called Cobra Kai because I kept saying it's like the last season 5 or whatever, Miyagi-Do, trying to get Johnny into it and blah, blah, blah. And then this one, everybody's underneath that banner. They're going to the which is kind of cool because you have this cohesion going on.
Yeah.
Right? And I was just like, isn't this called Cobra Kai? Like, Ralph Macchio got top billing. I was like, wait a minute. He wasn't like he was in the beginning of the first season, but still, I was just like,
yeah, I got you. It felt like it was a shift.
Yeah,
but I like how they came
brought
back.
It back.
Yeah, I like how, and the reason they came back and Johnny accepted it was that talk with Kreese, and it also necessity, storyline necessity.
Yeah,
so it was cool. What are they saying in the chat there?
Takeem is talking about Daniel San's son. I guess he hasn't.
Well, and
really
daughter.
Watched.
He has a son and a daughter.
Okay, I won't spoil anything on that, but like they said, he does. And again, any of the marketing shows that he has kids. Yeah. He has a son and a daughter. So,
but to your point about with them basically bringing it back full circle, the way they did it was just so like. There's no way if this was an official tournament, ain't no freaking way that's gonna be able to happen.
No. Yes, it was.
Technically, they were all part of Cobra Kai.
Yeah. Every single one of them, every single person that had that gi on has been represented.
Even Daniel. Everybody
has represented Cobra Kai.
Part of
so it wasn't necessarily. Yeah, and not only that, let's remember, they still were an official entrant. They just didn't have a particular participant on one side of the equation. Again, I don't want to spoil it because there's people that are saying they do want to check it out and watch the rest of it or whatever. So there's. Yes, for official tournament rules and stuff like that, you probably would not be able
official tournament rules. It would have ended with the mass brawl and somebody.
Yeah, that would have been it.
Yeah, that whole thing in Barcelona would have just been
that'd have been done.
But for the sake of a TV story, it's a loophole. Yeah. But realistically, yes, in an actual official tournament where you got to go in, sign up. Wait for your matches and stuff. You can't suddenly just show up and then like, we're part of this. No, it's like, that's not how that works.
Do you guys, to wrap up this conversation about it, do you guys have a favorite season of Cobra Kai?
Favorite season? That's tough. Because
for
me, it's the stuff that happened. It's not so much remembering exactly what season it happened in. Because, even my favorite stuff is seeing the growth of Johnny and even his friendship / rivalry with Daniel and how that evolved and changed and morphed into different stuff. Yeah, because that was the main thing when he literally asked him. He's like, "Do you trust me?" It was just like, huh? And he's like, "Hear him out." And I was like, "He's grown." Yeah. Because any other time,
Danny would be like, "No, I don't trust you."
Both of them.
That's true.
Both of them would have been like that.
So it's just like, okay. So it was like stuff like that, and even the callback that they had in that episode about what was going on with that particular character. There's so much stuff that's really well written in this show. It's actually a really good example for me of what stuff that they could be doing in some of these Disney Plus shows if they had a really good showrunner that's able to navigate that lore.
Yeah. For me, for my money, I feel like the best season of Cobra Kai was season 2. Basically when Tori got introduced and that whole thing with Robbie, Samantha, and Tori kind of started. the whole thing, the fight at the school that happened,
Jeez.
bro. Telling you, that was crazy.
That was almost like Warrior.
Yes,
that was almost like Warriors Light. But it was cool though.
It was so peak, bro. It was like to me that was the best stuff of the show.
Well, hey, even I think it was during that same season when they raided the house.
Yes,
when they raided the house, it was like
was it a season?
It might have been season 2. It might have been part of 2.
3. Maybe.
It might have been.
Yeah, it might have been.
But
3.
either way, when they raided the house, it was like, bro.
Yeah, that's
like
this
show is wild.
Yeah,
but it was like it
totally
worked.
Wild.
It really worked though. The pacing and everything of it worked.
Did.
One of my favorite. My favorite, and I was so hoping that he was gonna say it, but he didn't say one.
What?
No. When he said quiet, that was different. But that was not what I thought he was gonna. I thought when he called timeout in Johnny's redemption fight, I thought he was gonna be like, sweep the leg. Even though he did it. Even though he did it, I thought he was gonna say that.
That would have been cool. That would have been cool.
Honestly, I thought especially after he trained him in the crane
he was
kick,
gonna do that.
I thought he was gonna do the crane kick. So
I like that they did.
That was my.
I
like that they didn't do it either
because he said he's not Daniel. That's why he did sweep the leg.
Yeah, I like that they didn't have again it. Oh wait, hold on. Random question.
Have TMT ever guessed in Mortal Kombat?
Yes. Were they in Mortal Kombat or in Justice?
Yeah, they were in Mortal Kombat.
They were in Justice, actually.
It was in Justice.
Yeah, Justice. Yeah,
Justice too.
Their most recent guest appearance was in Street Fighter 6, but it was just as a costume. It wasn't necessarily them.
They're actually in what's the name? The new season of Call of Duty.
Oh yeah, I did.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't understand.
$90 I saw. What? $90 worth of what COD?
Oh, they got
credits.
They probably got the yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Teenage and school thuggery shouldn't be encouraged.
We're not encouraging it.
But
We're just saying that joke was crazy.
It was a great episode.
That joke was crazy, bro.
Again, the whole as character arcs go, to me, Johnny Lawrence's character arc is probably the best character arc done in this whole thing. As far as literally from truly down in the dumps all the way to like full on redemption. And also helping, not only, again, he didn't just help Miguel.
Yeah, he helped a lot
of people.
He did.
Eli.
And Hawk.
What was it? No, wait, Eli. I thought
Eli is Hawk.
Eli is
Dimitri.
Hawk.
Yeah, Dimitri, though he started to get confidence, he started turning to a fucking
asshole.
But but the thing is, that actually does happen a lot, though.
Yeah,
sometimes it's like you'll have that person that's been bullied. Once they get some of that taste of power, they sometimes become a bully themselves. It's a flip.
Just Hannah Omega, you need to watch Power Rangers Space. They are in.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The Turtles are in Power Rangers.
Yes, they are.
They are.
Yes, they are.
That
one crossover.
Yeah.
With Venus de Milo.
I guess the Turtles license just
it's gonna keep going forever,
which is fine. I mean, I have no problem with it. Turtles has always been interesting.
Yeah. So, but honestly, no. Cobra Kai as a show is fantastic. It went way better than I think anybody anticipated it would go. I love the little Easter egg they had at the end with the creators of Cobra Kai when they were in the restaurant. I thought that was
like,
pretty
what can
funny.
we do next?
Yeah, it's like, oh well, we could invite Crispin and do the whole Hill Valley thing, and I was like,
come on, dude.
come on, man. I thought that was funny. But anyway, we're running out. We pretty much run out of time now. We had a lot to talk about. There's a couple of things we didn't get to that we'll talk about next week, namely the finale of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, which
just
dropped
done
today.
already?
Yes, it's done.
Damn.
So we'll talk about that a little bit.
It was
next
a weird
week.
release schedule for that one.
It
It
really
wasn't
was.
weekly.
It
would
was
drop 2 or 3 episodes a week.
That's what was so weird about it.
It was like literally over in like 4 weeks. So,
whatever.
So we'll talk about that next week and a bunch of other things. So make sure you come back next week, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central for another great episode of Culture is Live. For my friends, the great Adakuji, GQ, and Simon Says, I'm Kishiro. See you guys next week. We have a good one. Stay warm out there because it is cold.
Yeah, it's annoyingly.
He said it's so cold in the D.
Right. Totally cold in the D.
Oh my
All right, y'all. Bye now. Take care.
Yep.
Bye-bye.